Hello and welcome to the PQA Enfield Story Slam podcast, Red Group Episode 1. Our stories today are told by our performers and are based on a challenge that they have faced in their lives. Have you ever confronted a fear that had been holding you back for a long time, or overcome a very awkward situation? Perhaps you've always been afraid of worms, or felt anxious when in a crowd. Whatever it may be, you're not alone. Story slams happen all around the world and are an opportunity for people to have their voices heard. So make yourself comfortable and enjoy this collection of heartfelt stories that will surprise you, captivate you, and inspire you.
When I was young, ever since I could remember, I used to have an obsession with butterflies. I painted butterflies in my room, wore butterfly-themed clothes, read butterfly books, and always had these big, sparkly butterfly wings on. Looking back on it, I have absolutely no clue why I loved them so much to a weird extent. You would think that if I was so obsessed with these insects, then I would actually know the simple butterfly life cycle, and that butterflies came from caterpillars. But no, I had no clue until that day at the zoo. So there was this huge butterfly house called Butterfly Paradise, where you'd walk in and admire all the different kinds of butterflies at the zoo. There were hundreds of them, all flying around and even landing on you if you were lucky. I absolutely loved it. I guess it was my dream come true, until one of the workers there thought it was a good idea to tell me that these beautiful creatures were once hairy, wriggly, slimy caterpillars. That was when the Butterfly Paradise soon turned into an insect nightmare. My butterfly obsession quickly came to an end. From that day on, I was disgusted and scared of not only butterflies, but all sorts of insects and creepy crawlies, until I decided to face my fear. I ended up getting persuaded into buying one of those grow your own butterfly garden. At first, I said there was no way I was going to do it, but I eventually gave in, as it was to help me get over my stupid fear after all. Long story short, I wouldn't say I've totally become not scared of them, but I definitely have become less terrified, and I don't run away every time screaming when a butterfly goes near me, which is an improvement.
Now I have a story about a fear I had to face. I had this fear ever since I was around 3, and it was a fear of spiders. If I'm going to be honest, I don't know why I hate them so much, but I think it was just the appearance of them. They're so creepy, but so small. In 2020, we managed to get on a trip. It was at an activity centre. I stayed there for about 2 weeks. Now, everything there was great. However, one thing annoyed me, and that was my room I had. In fact, it was filled with spiders. Actually, not only spiders, but a nest of ants in the corner. And it had to be in my room, didn't it? Every morning there, 3 more spiders would just randomly pop up in my room. And at one point, it was so infested with them, I had no choice but to befriend them. I know, sounds dumb, right? But I had to find a way to calm myself down. So I got my phone out, went to Google and searched up, and it pretty much said you can't befriend a spider. However, I wasn't going to give up. So I decided to pretend that they were like humans and gave them names. And I remember naming one Fuzzy because why not? Now you can call me crazy or whatever, but I literally had no choice. Eventually, about 3 days later, they were like best friends to me. And ever since that day, my fear of spiders just disappeared.
When I was younger, I attended swimming lessons for only about a couple months. Winter had come around, so it was way too cold to go swimming. After winter had passed, I never thought to go back to lessons. I remember me, being 10, going on holiday to Jamaica, bearing in mind Jamaica surrounded by the ocean and lots of rivers. It was a sunny day, so my cousins and I went to this river nearby us. I didn't really want to go in, as I thought it would be too cold, but after much persuasion, I decided to go in. My mindset had changed. In my head, I was like, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to jump in a lake, knowing I couldn't swim? But you know what? I just jumped in with no hesitation. And there it was. I started panting and struggling for air. Everyone was looking at me. A wave of embarrassment just came over me. And you know what? From that day on, as soon as I touched back into this country, I made sure my mum booked me swimming lessons to avoid that kind of embarrassment again. So you see, Not everyone can swim, and not everyone can do what they think they can do.
In December 2019, I found out I had an eye condition. The eye condition is called Macular Dystrophy. I'm writing a book about this, and I'm doing everything I can to let everybody know. When I found out I had this condition, I honestly felt like my whole life would be completely different. My hopes and all my dreams were taken away from me in 1 second. I always wanted to be a pilot, always. I even spoke to some pilots, and then on that day, I found out I couldn't be a pilot anymore. I felt upset, scared, panicked. I can't drive in the future. I can't do a lot of things. I have to use my side vision, which people know as peripheral vision. That means my central vision is completely gone. The thing that scares me the most is I can't see people's expression on their faces anymore. I'm learning that it might not be all that bad. There's no upsides really, but not everyone goes blind from this. So I'd have to hope.
This is about 5 years ago. I had a crazy fear of heights, to the point where I was scared to even look out of a really high window. I remember I was in year 3 and I had to do this rock climbing wall. One of the rocks came out and I almost fell. This is what sparks my fear of heights. And to be completely honest, I'm not sure I'm fully over my fear, but I think I'm getting close. Anyways, I was in year 5 and I was going on this residential trip to this place called the Frontier Centre. I remember I shared a room with 2 of my best friends at the time, and he said that his brother said at the end of the trip, we had to go on this thing called the King Swing. It was a swing that brought you about 100 meters high, and then it would drop you. The day finally came when I had to go on the King Swing, and I was terrified. It was a lot taller than I expected, and me and my friend were going on first. He wanted to go all the way to the top, but I wasn't so sure. Soon enough, it was time for me to get on the King Swing. And one of the guys there said, listen, once you get to the top, don't worry and don't look down. Just look straight ahead, because they'll be surprised. So I did just that. Once we got to the top, I looked straight ahead like he told me, and I saw this beautiful lake. It was massive and blue, and it was glistening in the sun. Since that day, I was able to go on my first roller coaster, and every time I'm someplace really high, I would just picture that lake, and I would start to calm myself down.
What a fantastic collection of stories, I'm sure you will agree. Thanks very much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed hearing these stories just as much as we have telling them. Join us again for part 2. Bye for now.